Had she had her own practice and had her own patient panel that she actually got to build rapport with and know, and not just what she was given and put on her schedule, that may not have been the case for her. It's very scary to work and operate in a profession that could be so litigious just by a unfounded truth, right? It's very scary to be the best that you can be in your profession as a nurse practitioner or a medical professional, and know that just showing up and grieving as a Black mother, people will try to destroy your career. What did she do wrong? Nothing. She wants answers, as she should have, as any mother should have, and by any means necessary, she's going to find them. And I felt for her as a Black nurse practitioner and as a Black mother, because she didn't do anything to warrant that, versus the Lindsay Clancy case right now, where she was a young white woman, mother of 3 young children, who strangled her children to death and then tried to kill herself. And right now, documentation is the biggest piece of this case. I don't see anybody that has at any juncture come out the woodwork as a former patient of hers, and she was a labor and delivery nurse, and say she was unprofessional, she has no integrity. I didn't see anybody, and that was an egregious crime. She committed a crime. The argument in court is, was she sane or not? And that's why the documentation plays a big factor in her case, because all of the medical professionals she has seen did not identify signs and symptoms of postpartum depression, which is what her defense case is about. But yet this Black mother whose son was mysteriously murdered, or accidental, we don't know, was reported to the board of nursing and bombed with all these bad negative reviews, simply because she wants answers and she's grieving. And that is the country we live in, and that is why we leave. That is why we are silently building our own practices, because leave it to the masses. You cannot even grieve as a healthcare professional and a Black mother, or else you will be subjected to unethical, unfounded, and unjust investigations into your professional license, and tons of all of a sudden negative reviews. When we have boutique practices, most of the time we're getting back to the basics of knowing who our patients are and creating that family environment of provider-patient trust. I have to speak about this. I cannot not speak about it, because I could not imagine a world, and unfortunately I don't have to, where a mother can kill her children and use the defense of postpartum psychosis, which is a real diagnosis and can be real, and she doesn't have any negative retaliation against her professional licensure. Where are all these people that were reporting Nolan Wells' mom to the board? Where are they at? There's no alleged patients that had a bad experience with Lindsay Clancy in the light of her situation, that they felt the need to report her license. Nobody was brought to chorus. But this woman shows up in tears, grieving her son and wanting answers, and all of a sudden people are moved to chorus. And then we keep saying, why is it always about race? Why is it always about race? It's about race because the collective makes it about race, and has always made it about race. If it's not about race, then what is it? What are you mad at? How are you more mad than the community who lost a young black man? How are you more upset to the point where you actually are going to try to ruin this woman's professional career? It just doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up. And black people were not the people that said you cannot drink from the water fountain because you are black. You cannot go to this school because you are black. You cannot sit at this part of the bus because you are black. We didn't do that. As a collective group, we didn't do it. So when it irritates my spirit when someone who is not black says, well, why do black people always make it about race? We are reacting to a behavior that was taught and ongoing for decades. And so when a black person absolutely sees race first, it's because we've always been made to see race first. We had to see race first to not go into territories that was not welcoming for black people, i.e. drinking from a daggone water fountain or getting and sitting where you want on a bus. So we have to get out of this notion that black people have this chip on their shoulder where we're making everything about race. You cannot open your mouth to say that as a non-black person who has not had this lived experience when you have not been subjected to decades and decades of being told you cannot, will not, should not because you are black. And even though these racial barriers have changed over the course of decades, we are still being told the same things. You cannot grieve and want to know answers about your son who died mysteriously because you are black. And if you do that, we are going to try to take your career. However, she can kill her children through mental health disease or whatever the defense is, but her professional license is protected by the masses because she's never had a bad experience with patient care. Make it make sense. How do you go from being a well-respected nurse practitioner who shows up for your patients to all of a sudden your experience was bad and you're being reported? How does a grieving mother sit in that? The psychological warfare that black women have to deal with on a daily basis. I'm speaking from my lived experience. I'm not speaking from anybody else's experience. I'm not speaking for the masses. I'm speaking from my lived experience. Just to walk into a room can create a reaction to your nervous system where you're on the defense. If we're not careful as black women, our perspective can be that everybody's out to get us, which is not a way to live. So you have to constantly remind yourself, not everybody is the same, some, not all. And that is honestly the best way I've been able to see people as individuals and not as a collective. But if I had to say anything about my non-black friends, they have created a community where they are educating themselves on my lived experiences to advocate for me and people who look like me. And those are the friendships that I only want. Because if you cannot stand in the mud with me, even when you don't look like me, and stand up for me, then what are we doing in our friendship? Or is it a friendship? And so that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we leave. I'll talk to you guys later. My name is Chantel Hill. I'm a family nurse practitioner, board certified, obesity medicine specialist, and metabolic care. And I hope this gives some insight to what's really going on. All right. See you guys soon.